Well, you might as well eat there if you don't want to go out, and then you don't have to eat with your hands outside because you have your. But I believe it's a commission sale. It's a commission sale. It's a commission sale.
Well, you know what, Rick?
It's not my policy.
With Tommy and anybody that works in the industry, we're going to agree to disagree because it's kind of like a brotherhood or a sisterhood.
Oh, I know. They work awfully darn hard, and I know that. And I'm not dismissing that in any way, shape,
and that's
or
what
form.
you got to take. And you got to also be like, hey, when I worked at Sierra Room, my wine knowledge, I could probably, I'm pretty close to my first pin sommelier. All right, because of the wine knowledge.
That is.
That's like.
A black belt? Are you a brown belt?
It would be a brown belt.
Okay.
But my knowledge,
that's a mushroom hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
But the thing is Christy Jackson afforded us so much wine knowledge. We had to study that wine. We had to taste that wine. We had to know where it came from. We had to know what the terroir, or the way the earth laid, and we were studying about those wines so that if you wanted a Trefethen Cab that's an 88 at $100 a bottle, or a Murphy Good, which is 85% Cab and 25% Merlot, we were able to guide you into everything that you liked on your budget. And you know what? You pay for the talent, and you pay for the knowledge, and you pay for the expertise.
Your point's well taken. Rick, thank you very much for listening.
And both of you guys, I enjoy the segments you have. And I'm not discounting the industry by any means.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks a lot. We appreciate that.
Call me, I'm broke.
Here's another point that I'd like to make, though, Tommy. Thanks, Rick, for calling and listening. We have some outstanding restaurants, some unique restaurants in the city, including the 1913 Room, which the Dutch perception and I think the general native perception of West Michigan, Grand Rapids specifically, is that, oh my gosh, that's for special occasions or I can't afford it. Now, when you go there, one of the reasons that they're a 4- or 5-star restaurant, diamond restaurant, one of the only ones rated in the state at that, or a handful anyway, the service is unbelievable. You've got at any given time 3 to 4 people standing around you, not standing around, but if your water glass is half empty, or they take care of business. Now, again, misconception is it's so affordable. I have eaten meals that were unbelievable there, and the service 3 times, the other restaurants, for a similar amount, maybe $15, $20 more.
Exactly.
So now, what happens when you have 3 or 4 people waiting on you? Do they divide those tips up?
They divide the tips up. It's not like you've got to add. It's not like Dumb and Dumber where you're handing cash to everybody that walks by you. It's the industry standard for great service, prompt, efficient, knowledgeable service is 20%.
Well,
it's not our
the industry
policy.
standard was 15%. When did they raise it to 20%?
They raised it to 20%, like in the early 80s.
You think that people in Grand Rapids across the board are tipping 20%?
You know what? I gotta tell you what. In my experience as a server, if I ever received lower than 20%,
you'd spit in their food?
No, I was very humble because I thought maybe I did something wrong.
I think 18 is the new 15. I mean, a lot of people tip 18.
And I tell you what, you go to any catering company, everybody, we had 20% on our
I know,
caterings.
but you know what? Again, that goes back to,
but
let's
that pays
say,
for the staff.
And times are better. Times are good. Maybe you have a little bit of expense account where you can, that's the other thing. I've seen companies, including our own, say, you know what, we're going to cover the cost, but you tip too much. We're going to back off on the tip. You're going to cut that. They tip 25%. And you're saying, wait a minute, we had 8 people. One of them was rowdy and blah, da, 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 and the person was great. We tipped them.
I've dealt with corporations that they're like, our standard is we tip 15%. The salespeople are supposed to add more. And you know what? I think that's brilliant because you're not paying for anything. You might as well throw a little bit towards the company. Don't make the company incur all the expenses of your night out. Especially, in certain industries, it gets crazy. But my thing is a standard is a percentage system.
All right,
that's what our country does.
Okay, here's another point. Here's the one thing that I felt bad about because there was one particular instance where I wasn't happy with the service, and so I didn't tip her very much. And then the bartender said, "Hey, I thought because I went up once or twice and got my own drinks, which is why I wasn't happy about the service." Bartender said, "Hey, I thought I took care of you, man. A good pour and whatever." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I share the tips with the waitress and the bus boy, everybody involved, and that's not necessarily fair."
No, well, what it is like I've been in that same instance many a time, and it's like I tip every time I go up to get a round of drinks. I tip on that round of drinks. I tip 20% at least if I go and purchase something. Then, like if we transfer a tab, I still put a couple bucks on the table. I'm like, hey, you're gonna transfer the tips. Our policy at Sierra Room is if you had a transfer tab. Say the bartender had $100 worth of drinks.
Right.
Table comes my way. I automatically, no matter what, gave that bartender the percentage of the tip that was given me. So if I got a 20% tip on the overall bill, I gave them 20% for that transfer. Plus, we tipped out like 1% to the bar, 1% to the hostess, 1% to the expediter.
Who's making more money, the waiter or the bartender?
I made more money as a waiter.
Okay.
I did, but bartenders have all the power supposedly.
I was a disc jockey in a
Depends on
bar,
how big,
restaurant bar, and they would tip me out if they had a good night, if the music was moving and
sure.
the people were on the dance
Wow,
floor.
those stripper disc jockeys make lots of dough.
That wasn't the bar I was in.
A lot of singles.
Well,
there you go.
That's
Dave,
but
what do you tip? What's your standard?
20%.
You do? You really do?
I do.
Doesn't your wife, who's on a budget, and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, times
Right.
you're in radio for crying out."
On a budget, then
no,
you
but when you go out, it's
a
a special occasion now instead of a regular event. People used to eat out 3-4 times a week. Now they're going out maybe once, maybe once a month. And I'm going to throw 20% at somebody that just because that's expected. I hate that.
Well, no.
If the service is poor,
if the
then
service
I'll drop
is
it.
there though. If the salesman does his job or her job, and if they just like a car, just like any piece of furniture, if they do their job with knowledge and efficiency, and they make you feel good about it. The thing about the restaurant business, where the furniture, the car business, that price is built into the price of the item. In our industry, for some stupid reason, it was okay. What happened is these owners saw all these people making money, and they said, "Hey, we're only gonna pay you this much. If you're making tips, we're making tips." So it's not. I don't agree with it. I would love a tipless society. I mean, I think it would be great. Hey, that's the price out the door. Sweet. I pay my sales tax on it. Great.
I like it because I would rather reward someone who does spectacular service.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm part Italian. I go to church to tip God.
You know what?
God, you're doing a great job up there. Keep up the good work. The sun is shining.
First time we checked into a hotel in New York, the bags are heavy. I had the guy bring them up, and he stood there, with his hand out. I'm thinking I threw him $5, and he looked at me like, "You cheap skate." How much you tipped?
$5 a bag.
How much you? $5 a bag?
$5 a bag
in New York?
No, it was $2 a bag when I was doing it.
That's a Seinfeld. And okay, here's a better one.
It's $2 a bag at the airport.
I stay at the JW.
$2 a bag I can do.
I stay at the JW. $5 a night I leave on the bed for the housekeeping. Do you guys tip housekeeping?
I do if I'm staying multiple nights.
Do you tip the garbage man? Hell no, I don't tip housekeeping.
I do at Christmas time.
Well, me too. I'll put
Actually, I had this one garbage guy. I used to give him a 6-pack of beer on holidays.
Well, they love that. I mean, if you just know their name, that's
throw a
nice.
pint their
You just
way.
gotta,
The male person too.
We all know
How much
what's
you
right
tip
with
a guy
people.
that brings me a pizza? I got a pizza
Oh,
pie. What do I tip him?
I tip fat. I tip fat on the pizza because you didn't make me get out of my house. I'm still in my boxers. Dude, that is worth.
Hey, guys,
it's a
going to
$15
therapy.
pizza. Here's
You got
20.
a tip.
He's going to, yeah, but okay.
No, I think Tony's trying to make this. I think he's trying to just make this a discussion, but I bet you $1 million that Tony's a great.
You don't have
tipper.
$1 million, and I'm saying I just don't like
You're
the
a good
expected
tipper.
aspect. You
You're
know
right.
what? It's
Nobody
like
likes it.
sorry,
It's
it's like
like
arguing with a teenager that feels they're entitled. You need to, there needs to be.
You know what though? But service, I have found, and it's all about service. The service level depends where you go, but there's not great service anymore.
You
And
negotiate
so
a rate with a hooker. Are you tipping her based on her service?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that I would go, but my point is, yes, for exceptional service, you tip more.
Exceptional service.
Yeah,
Ask Al Gore on that. I don't know. Did he tip the masseuse?
There are some bartenders.
I go to the funeral home and they greet people or whatever. Am I throwing the guy a fin on the way out?
No,
because
they
put
built
that in.
Oh,
Casket.
come on. They're in the
ripping you up.
service business. Hey, I'm at the hospital. Throw a little something to the anesthesiologist. Come on.
Oh, no, they're
Where does it
ripping you off
stop?
there, too.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Rick's
send
point
my
was
back a
they're ripping you
little
off when
something.
they're triple charging
What about
for the
when you
bottle
get a
of wine.
haircut?
I tip.
You get fancy haircuts.
Supercuts,
too.
I give them $1.
I go.
You don't go to super.
You know what? We do a family thing. We do me, my wife, and my baby son.
Right.
So it's a threefer.
The Tony Gates Show, weekdays noon till 2 on 1340 AM, WJRW, Grand Rapids.